so we'll all get a chance to respond. But Senator Scott, I'd like to start.
Folks, part two of my of this Republican debate. This is from my NBC News feed. Fair use. This is Agu. This is from his stream.
With you, the United States has given Ukraine financial and military support.
Oh, okay. So we've gone from Palestine and Israel to Ukraine. I'm
Part two, folks.
pretty sure the responses are going to be pretty different here.
My part two.
You know, they're probably going to be like, I think Chris Christie's on the side of Ukraine, but I think the rest of them are probably pro-Russian. Let's see if I'm right.
Since the war began more than 600 days ago. President Zelensky told me on Sunday if Russia isn't stopped now, quote, the price will be higher for the United States, and Americans would be forced to, quote, send your sons and daughters to defend NATO countries. Senator Scott, where do you stand on more funding for Ukraine?
I certainly have been very supportive of Ukraine. I believe that ultimately we should make sure that the President of the United States states what is America's national vital interest.
Well, this guy's always been don't forget he's a Ronald Reagan Republican, and he's kind of a more pro-war kind of interventionist type Republican. Or he's more like, say, George Bush, actually, because Ronald Reagan was that. George Bush was more of an interventionist than Ronald Reagan, in a way. You know what I mean? Although he did stuff with the CIA, Reagan. They did a lot of stuff with the CIA. South America, Central America. I mean, but anyways.
Ukraine. It is actually in degrading the Russian military. We've been very effective using our resources and our weaponry.
It's all about helping Ukrainians, eh? Okay.
The price of Ukrainian blood to achieve that objective. Every day we get closer to the degradation of the Russian military, and that's good news. But the American people are frustrated that they do not have a president who...
Well, I agree. Putin's not a good guy. He's a bad guy. And then some on the right and some on the left seem to think that Putin is a good guy. I mean, no.
Who reminds us and tells us...
No, it's not really you can't say it's a democracy. He just takes over and just becomes the de facto president. I mean...
The accountability. Where are those dollars? How are those dollars being spent? We need those answers for us to continue to see the support for Ukraine.
So you want to give military spending details?
Say that a package that's been offered by the president.
Fear mongering all over the place. Overactive amygdalias. Yeah, fear response being triggered all over this audience.
We need to focus.
I mean, the entire Republican base is just fear driven, and these guys are just fear mongering because of that.
On providing Israel with the $14 billion that they need so that we show the world that we are 100% undeniably standing shoulder to shoulder with Israel. And then as we turn away from that direct support for Israel, we should go to our southern border and close our southern border.
We're talking about Ukraine,
necessary.
not Israel.
Again, southern border. Every time the southern border. They're so fascinated by the southern border. I mean, there's no open borders. I mean, so why hasn't Mr. Trump fixed the border if it's so bad? Like Biden, Trump was in there, and then Biden came in, and he did. See, the problem is he follows Trump's policies. That's what the problem. And if it's really that bad, I don't think it's open borders, but there's problems with the migrant thing, the refugee. But I mean, why did Mr. Trump fix it? Why couldn't he fix it? And it's gonna be the same thing if if Trump gets in, or one of you guys. I mean, it might be even worse, actually. He's not going to let anybody in. It was Muslim ban, and he's gonna put a Muslim ban again. And see, the thing is, he's kept Trump's policies. So he hasn't done anything with the border. I mean, so that's why. And he's done, and he's like I said, I think this is documented. I think it's more deportations than Trump and Obama. Mr. Biden has. I think he has done more than Obama. But definitely he's deported more than Trump. And he's put kids in cages, but not as bad as as Trump, actually. But he has done that. And he's building a wall right now. So he's doing Trump's policies on the border.
For terrorist cells in America.
Garbage.
Thousands of people have come from
No
Yemen.
terrorist trail. Where is no proof of that, buddy? It's a lie. Make up friggin' stories. Bunch of liars. There's no proof of that. No terrorist cells going across the border. People don't believe this guy. It's a lie. It's all lies, man.
Iran, Syria, and Iraq.
My
If
God.
we're going to deal
Oh
with the national
my
security-
God.
Nothing. This
Literally
lie.
calling the refugees or immigrants from those
This is
places,
right.
and or immigrants from those places, sleeper terrorists. They've come here to destroy America. This is classic racist, xenophobic propaganda.
One from a black guy too.
Oops. That's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, and they're coming from the southern border. I mean, all from the southern border. And how about they come on planes too, I guess? Well, Biden's letting them in. I mean, so we shouldn't let the refugees in from Palestine or any, I mean, just Ukraine. I mean, white European countries, I guess. Not from Ukraine or South America or any. Just for the white folks, I guess Europeans. We should let the refugees in from there, from Ukraine maybe. I guess. Not from the Middle East or South America or Central America, I guess.
Fuck am I watching? Oh my God. Insane.
See, at our border, we have to do it now.
Senator Scott, thank you. But just to be very
Not at the border, man. That's just pure garbage. Make up shit.
clear, if you were president, if you were in the Oval
Yeah, he
Office,
didn't answer the question
would you
directly.
sign off on
Because
more
make up
military
lies.
funding for Ukraine, or would you discontinue it?
Bottom line is we have to first have the level of accountability that allows the American people to understand where
He's
the
not committing either way.
Number one. Number two, after we have that responsibility taken care of and accountability, then we have an opportunity to look at the overall strategy that helps us degrade the Russian military while we use our resources and frankly,
Jeez.
keeping our NATO partners safe from the Russian
NATO partners. Ukraine is not part of NATO.
As you understand, Article 5 would require to support and to defend NATO, our troops on the ground. The fastest way for us to eliminate that possibility is for us to destroy, to the extent possible, the Russian military by
So how about get a ceasefire and peace agreement? That will help. How about a ceasefire in Ukraine?
doing so, we actually achieve the objective of keeping our military home. And that's good news.
Thank you, Senator Scott. Mr. Ramaswamy, are you persuaded by
Zero
President
claps.
Zelensky's urgent new plea? Where do you stand on more funding?
I'm absolutely unpersuaded. And I'm actually enjoying watching the Ukraine Hawks.
Look, behind those bushes, it's terrorists, the communists, the woke. Be afraid. Exactly. That is exactly what they're doing. Notice how it's all fear-driven, like you mentioned. It's just, oh. And of course, Vivek is against it. I knew he was. I don't know if you all saw that Piers Morgan interview with him. It was funny. It was ridiculous.
Quietly, delicately tiptoe back from their position
Yeah.
as this thing has unwound into a disaster. The first half of this race, I was the only person standing for it. Now they're actually quietly coming around to being more cautious as they should. Level with the American people here. Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy. This is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties. It has consolidated all media into one state TV media arm. That's not democratic. It is
What?
not to hold elections this year unless the
It's interesting. Some of the stuff he's saying might be true, folks. I can't really say to that. And certainly there's Nazis in the Ukraine, and they're kind of they might kill. They're threatening Zelensky. So some of what he's saying now is partly true. Some of the stuff, I think. I don't know. You say it's partly. I want to verify that. I can't really. I think I can't really verify what the whole thing he's saying.
U.S. forks over more money. That is not democratic. It is
They're not holding elections because it's a fucking war, mate. That's why.
rated a Nazi in its ranks. The comedian in cargo pants, a man called Zelensky, doing it in their own ranks. That is not
He's
democratic.
not a Nazi.
More facts for you that you won't hear from the mainstream in either party or the mainstream.
You could call Zelensky a Nazi. I don't know. Did I hear right or? Can I go back?
Enjoying watching the Ukraine Hawks.
Look, behind those bushes, it's terrorists, the communists, awoke. Be afraid. Exactly. That is exactly what they're doing. Notice how it's all fear-driven, like you mentioned. It's just, oh. And of course, Vivek is against it. I knew he was. I don't know if you all saw that Piers Morgan interview with him. It was funny. It was ridiculous.
Quietly, delicately tiptoe back from their position.
Yeah.
As this thing has unwound into a disaster. The first half of this race, I was the only person standing for it. Now they're actually quietly coming around to being more cautious as they should. Level with the American people here. Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy. This is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties. It has consolidated all media into one state TV media arm. That's not democratic. It is not to hold elections this year unless the U.S. forks over more money. That is not democratic. It is
They're not holding elections because it's a fucking war, mate. That's why.
rated a Nazi in its ranks. The comedian in cargo pants, a man called Zelensky, doing it in their own ranks. That is
he's a
He's
Nazi.
not a Nazi.
More facts.
He's a Jew. How could he be a Nazi? He's wrong about that. So we're calling Zelensky a Nazi. The president.
For you that you won't hear from the mainstream in either party or the mainstream media. The regions of Ukraine that are occupied by Russia right now, in the Donbass, Luhansk, Donetsk, these are Russian-speaking regions that have not even been part of Ukraine since 2014. That other people probably...
Oh, wow. 2014 is such a long time ago. Less than a decade, I guess. That's a long enough time.
Yeah.
Russian-speaking. So what if they're Russian-speaking? You know why they're Russian-speaking, right? Because there was Russification. They were forced to learn it under the USSR. To be honest, I think Putin wants someone like Trump in charge of the US because Trump would stop all aid to Ukraine, which would benefit his imperialist ambitions. Absolutely. And he would love someone like Vivek.
Yep, that's right. That's why all this thing about some of the right wing and the left, Jimmy Dore left is I think Putin is a good guy. Although now I don't think he's gonna attack Poland and all these other they're NATO countries. Now they're NATO. Now they're gonna go into Poland or Latvia or whatever, or these other countries. The Balkans. I don't think he's gonna go into it now. I think his resources are maybe thin, kind of. So I don't think he's gonna do that now. But that was his ambition to go to imperialists, to take over Ukraine and maybe the other countries, Poland maybe next. I believe that was, and people think that it was the ethnic Russians in Donbass. Yeah, that's a problem too. But I think what he said about Soviet Union, I don't know, but that's true, kind of. But I think I don't know if before that there were Russians before that. So I don't know if that's what he said is is true in a way because of the Soviet Union. I have to verify that. I don't believe that, kind of. I don't believe that. I'm not sure what he said, so I'm not gonna take what he said is true. I think there might have been Russians before that in the Donbas regions. I mean, and Putin just take control of that, actually. And the Crimea, that's for sure. Same way the Crimea, there was Russians there, and they took it over. I mean, so, but you're right about Trump. This is on super chat. This chat here, he says, right, Putin wants it. I'm like, so he had imperialist ambitions. I agree. But now maybe there's a peace agreement. But a lot of people on the right and the left think that Putin's a good guy, and that wasn't his goal. I mean, I think it's more like nuance. It's kind of nuance. It's not like it's just black or white, this issue of Ukraine. And I think they're wrong. People like Jimmy Dore say that totally. I mean, yeah, they're fascists. But they're right, they had a peace agreement. Jimmy Dore's right about one thing. They had a peace agreement last year, and in the 2014 they had agreement. So Putin would have been, I think they would have been, he agreed to it, they didn't implement it. I mean, Zelensky was stopped by the Nazis in Ukraine. So they didn't want this. But I think Putin knows that he's not gonna, he can't win. Like go out, like say if he takes Ukraine, he's not gonna go. He realize now, I think, he want to attack. He want to go into. He can't attack like the other countries. Well, they'll be attacking NATO. Actually, they're actually now NATO. And Hungary, I don't know if Hungary is NATO or not yet. I think Poland is NATO, part of NATO actually. Hungary, I'm not sure. But that was his vision. He mentioned it of being taking over those countries again. But he realized that it's not. He can't do that. It would be a lot of loss. It'd be not a good victory. A Pyrrhic victory for him. So it would be trouble. It'd be great loss. And the economy would be bad too for the economy. But now he realizes that's what he wanted. He wanted to take over Donbas region. And that may have been his main goal, actually. And his ambition was to go further, but no. So.
In charge too, because he's essentially saying the same things. There was Russification there. The USSR tried to culturally genocide Ukrainians and force them to speak Russian. That's why there's so many Russian-speaking people there. And again, that doesn't justify invasion and conquer.
I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. I have to look that up.
Conquest at all. Just because of ethnicity or language. What an insane justification that Vivek is trying to make here.
Name those provinces for you. Those are the hard facts. And sort of frame this as some kind of battle between good versus evil.
It is.
Don't buy it. And I'd like the likes of the sharpest of the war hawks on Ukraine, Nikki Haley, to have some accountability and answer. Do you want to use U.S. taxpayer money to fund the banning of Christians? That is actually what's happening. They're using the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. They have banned them. The Ukrainian Parliament just did this last week, supported by our dollars. And I think you owe it to the American people, Nikki, to at least this one.
Is any of this true?
That's time.
At least to
Mr.
condemn
Ramaswamy,
their
thank
banning
you.
of Christians.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
Or else
thank
we're
you.
talking out of both sides.
Mr. Ramaswamy, thank you. We
I
asked
don't
the
know.
question.
That's a good question. I don't know. But it's not what you think. It's not black and white. Ukraine. They realize that now. So he might be true on this stuff. You know what I mean?
Ambassador Haley, what is your take on more funding for Ukraine?
This is Field Pouch by Pete
No,
Kuzak.
no
Because for
ads.
everything you do,
Get
there's
rid
things.
of the ads, man. Okay.
I am telling you, Putin and President Xi are salivating at the thought that someone like that could become president. They would love to
The
see
fact of the
that.
matter is she doesn't answer
So this is what I will tell
President.
you.
Now China coming to this.
Because of
You
peaceful
had your time to
responses.
talk. The ambassador has the floor.
Thank
Ambassador
you. The
Xi.
first thing I'll tell you is we all remember what that thug did when he invaded Ukraine. We all know that 500,000 people have died.
Vivek proves that you don't have to make a lot of money. You don't need a lot of intelligence to make a lot of money. You just need to have sociopathic tendencies. Exactly. You just need to not give a shit about anybody else, and you'll make a lot of money. Facts.
Because of Putin. And here is a freedom-loving, pro-American country that is fighting for its survival and its democracy. No, I don't think we should give them cash. I think we should give them the equipment and the ammunition to win. And I'll tell you, if Biden had done it when they first asked for it, this war would be over. But let's also remember this. When you
Oh Lord, really? They still ask for more. You really think the war would be over? Oh, you would. Oh, come on. I don't think so. And this is like he's like a Cold War, old Cold Warrior mentality. I mean, she mentioned China. She's right. China and Russia are together because of the Ukraine war. I mean, the thing is, they could have had a peace agreement last year, and before that, 2014. I mean, that's the bottom line, and you would have saved lives. Actually, so they're democracy, I guess. Yeah, but what they're doing, if he thing is what he's saying is true, Vivek is saying that they're banning a church and they shut down opposition. That's not a democracy.
left Afghanistan in shambles and left them with a ton of weapons and money, it's not that we left, it's how we left. When you look at Ukraine, don't think...
How we left. Well, that's a no-win situation. Either way, once we left, it's going to be like that. It was predicted like that. And Trump wanted to leave, but he didn't. So Biden did it. So it would have been messy anyways in Afghanistan.
For a second, now everybody wants to move away from Ukraine. They'll want to move away from Israel a year from now.
my God.
America
No, they
can
won't.
never be so arrogant to think we don't need friends.
They won't move away from Israel. Ukraine, they might, because they don't realize that. I mean, Ukraine is more. I mean, nobody wants a war with World War III with Putin. Everybody wants to end this. They want a ceasefire in Ukraine. They want both, but they want ceasefire in Ukraine. They don't want World War III. That's why. I mean.
After 9/11, we needed a lot of friends. Now is the time to get partnerships.
It's easy to get World War III. I mean, it's more with Middle East is more. It's going to take more of a escalation to get what. I mean, for nuclear weapons to happen. If there is nuclear weapons, but Ukraine is. I mean, it's easily to get out. It's more easier to get out of hand. The conflict in Ukraine, and then by accident or whatever, Russia might set off a nuke, or he might just do that. So it's easier to just you start nuclear war in the Ukraine than the Middle East. I mean, the Middle East is going to be more of a build-up. I mean, it takes more time. It's not going to, yeah, I mean, but this, you can escalate it very easily. You can go fast. I mean, one bad judgment. I mean, one wrong move, and that's it. The whole world's in jeopardy.
This unholy alliance between Russia, Ukraine, and China is real. There is a reason the Taiwanese want us to support the Ukrainians. It's because they know that China is coming after them next. There is a reason Ukrainians want us to support
China.
Israelis, because they know that if Iran wins, Russia wins. We have to see the combination of this.
Ambassador, thank you. Governor.
I think Ukraine doesn't want Israel to win. I mean, Zelensky came out to support because otherwise he's not going to get any U.S. aid. I mean, I hate the fact that he supports.
He might be pro-Israel. I think he's a pro-Israel guy. I think so.
Or Israel.
He's a Jew, but he's a pro-Israel Jew. I don't know if he's a Zionist, maybe, but yeah, he's a pro-Israel. I think he is probably a pro-Israel. Zelensky.
But he doesn't have a choice if he wants to win the war. So it's a horrible decision he had to make.
How long should Americans be expected to help fund the war in Ukraine?
Kirsten, let's remember the last time that we turned our back on a shooting war in Europe. It bought us just a couple of years. And then 500,000 Americans were killed in Europe to defeat Hitler. This is not a choice. This is the price we pay for being the leaders of the free world. And the fact is, this alliance is not just...
Yeah, America's a leader, but we have alliances. They have alliances and partnership, but we want to be the America's police. They want to be the policeman of the world. I think the American empire is over. So I don't think they're gonna be. You want to be? I mean, these people want to be still fighting for the empire. And America leads, blah blah blah. And they criticize Obama for America. You seen America that's not leading. He brought them back, but Obama did kind of. He still lead, but he wanted to do more alliances, like partnership. And George Bush was just more interventionist, and do America do what it wants. Go America, and they don't care what if you disagree or not. They want to interventionist. Obama was kind of interventionist, but he was more. You want to do partnership more. America partners with other countries. I think that's what we should be doing. They should be doing, or we, and they should be doing humanitarian stuff. And they should step back from the empire, the imperialism. But these guys I think they want America to be kind of like imperialist, kind of, in a way. I think the empire is over for America. But Trump, the thing is with Trump, he wants America to be transactional and what do you call it? Not interventionist, but isolationist. Like, who cares if it benefits them? But Trump really wants it if it benefits him. That's what he wants. But his policies, he wants America to be more isolationist. I mean, except for China and Iran. He seems to be interventionist in that field. In the Middle East, he's more he wants to intervene. He wants an interventionist, and in China, he wants to be sort of interventionist. Anything else, he doesn't care about Ukraine because of Putin. But maybe, I don't think he cares about Ukraine or NATO. But he seems to care about the Middle East. kind of. And I think because of evangelical base, and he doesn't like Muslim. That's why. Yeah, he doesn't like the Muslims or Arabs, so he's racist. That too, and Chinese. He's racist. That's why he doesn't. He wants to be. I just thought of that. He's a racist. That's why he attacks Muslims and or Arabs, and he attacks China because he just doesn't like Chinese people or Arab people or Muslim people. I just thought of that. It's maybe as simple as that. And then people and brown people he doesn't like. But like Europe, he doesn't really care about Europe. I mean, Ukraine, Russia, he doesn't really care. Even if he didn't like Putin, if he didn't really have the connection with Putin, he'd be. I don't think he'd care. Now that I think about it, hey, that's the most crazy reason why he likes to go and intervene. He likes to war with go to war with the Middle East and be hostile to China. I just thought of that. It's maybe as simple as that with Donald Trump, which is crazy.
With Russia and China. Governor Haley knows this. Iran is in the middle of this as well, and so is North Korea. And they are all working to support Russia right now.
North Korea, how's North Korea in this? It's crazy. He's in unhinged. That's unhinged there. North Korea.
It's because dictators work together. People who believe in democracy work together.
I think when they set off missiles, I guess they tested missiles, and they always threaten Japan. I guess. So I guess, yeah. Although the missiles don't work, so they do. So I don't know. I don't know if they're really a threat. They're a potential threat, but
together, we must stand with all of those that are standing up for democracy.
If that's the case, why aren't you standing with? Why are you standing with Israel? They're fascists. They're not really democracy. Not really. Netanyahu's a fascist. I guess they elected him, but he didn't win through a majority vote. He had to go through coalition, so he wasn't even that popular.
Well, that's more complicated. Well,
and why hasn't Palestine had elections? Because Israel helped Hamas win and do a military coup. Where's that same sympathy for Palestinians? Where's that same support? It's insane the double standards they have between Ukrainians and Palestinians.
In this world. And by the way, let's remind everybody of this. In 1992, this country made a promise to Ukraine. We said if you return nuclear missiles that were part of the old Soviet Union to Russia and they invade you, we will protect you. An American promise that's 31 years old is no different than an American promise that's made tonight on this stage. We need to stand by it. And those of us who forget history are doomed to repeat it. And
I'd like to respond.
And the absolute giving in to dictators, which is being suggested on this stage, just shows.
Yeah, you are suggesting it.
Of the approach.
I'd like to
Governor Christie,
respond.
thank you. Governor DeSantis, I'd like you to weigh in on this idea. Are you concerned that this could become a wider war if Putin is not stopped now?
Well, any suggestion by Zelensky or anyone else that we're going to eventually have U.S. troops there, I can tell the American people when I'm president that will not happen. We are not going to send your sons and daughters to Ukraine. I am going to send troops to our southern border. If you look at the threats that we face, terrorists have
southern border. Oh my God! Now I can't the southern border. Oh my God!
come in through our southern border.
Which terrorists?
I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to have the military, and I'm going to deport the people
Let's invade Mexico. I guess that's what they really want to do.
who've come, particularly under Biden, who've come from the Middle East, come from all these places. Now, Biden wants $105 billion.
No proof, folks. No proof at all.
They're all terrorists.
60, most of that's Ukraine, including some of it going to pay pensions for bureaucrats and salaries. That is a totally ridiculous use of American tax dollars. He says he has money for border to try to do, and the media will repeat that. When you look at it, what most of the money is money to process more illegal aliens into this country.
Illegal aliens. You see, notice how they use the dehumanizing language?
Yeah.
If they say illegal immigrants or illegal asylum
I
seekers.
mean the migrants. They mean the migrants, the asylum seekers. That's what he's. Yeah, exactly.
Because that kind of humanizes them. Calling them aliens, however, dehumanizes them. Language has power. You continuously say it, it'll stick into the minds of the people you're speaking to. And that's how they're going to refer to them, and that's how they're going to think of them. And thus it's easier for them to support horrible, evil policies. Fucking propaganda 101 over there here.
Problem. That's making the problem worse. And what does he do for the Indo-Pacific? A pittance.
We're talking
That
about
is the
Ukraine.
conflict that we face. We need to bring this war to an end. We need the Europeans to step up and do their fair share. And we need to get serious about the top threat that this country faces.
But I agree. I agree with. Okay, I agree with Santos. He's right. The war has to end. So I agree with him. He's right on that.
Which is the Chinese Communist Party. So if I may
Thank you,
just-
Governor.
CCP.
Now it's about China bashing. Now he's a China bashing.
You could have just said
We are
CCP.
going to go from the hot wars in Ukraine and Gaza and Israel to what many people are calling the new Cold War with China. And I remind the audience that it's
Oh my
important
God.
for
See, this
our
is,
viewers at home to be able to hear you.
This is what the establishment wants, folks. This new Cold War. Like they all buy into this. Even the Democrats are bought into this Cold War with China. It's nonsense. I mean,
And especially for the people in Beijing to hear you. Many Republicans believe that the Chinese Communist Party
I despise all the politicians here, though Christie seems to be the most horrible. He's not an open fascist like the others are, but it's still a very low bar for Republicans. Yeah, I mean, Chris Christie is definitely better than the rest of them, although he's still terrible. You're right, though. I mean, the fact that Chris Christie now is considered a high standard for Republicans shows you how low the bar is. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. But yeah, I'm actually surprised. A lot of them support, I think, out of the two, it was Nikki Haley and Chris Christie who were the most clearly supporting Ukraine. Tim Scott was kind of wishy-washy. Ron DeSantis was very wishy-washy. I'm starting to think that he might not even support Ukraine. And Vivek was out and out a pro-Russian guy. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Interesting. So, two wishy-washy, one very pro-Russian, two pro-Ukrainian. Interesting mix here. I'm pretty sure Trump is going to be either wishy-washy or anti-Ukrainian.
in General Secretary Xi,
Now they're talking
existential threat to the United States. The flashpoint is Taiwan. For decades and decades, the American military, but primarily the United States Navy, has deterred an attack from China to the island state of Taiwan. But Ronald Reagan's Navy of 600 ships is gone. Now, the question to you is, and I'll start with you, Ambassador Haley, because you were in President Trump's cabinet, is...
That's crazy. 600 ships. I think that's crazy on itself. But I don't know if this is true. But the Biden administration, I think this is true. Some other sources, RBN, they're giving aid to or support to Taiwan. So that Mr. Biden.
Goal was a 355 ship Navy. That's what he pushed for. He got to 300. It's now at 291. Is that big enough to deter and, if necessary, defeat an invasion of Taiwan?
China has the largest naval fleet in the world. They have 350 ships. They'll have 400 ships in 2 years. We won't even have 350 ships in 2 decades. China has built up their military. It's not just land, air, and sea. They're doing cyber. They're doing artificial intelligence. They're doing space. America needs to modernize.
Space? Like what? Space? Like in Star Wars, they're gonna have the X-wings, Chinese X-wings going woohoo. Space. That was one hell of a thing to throw in there. Unless you mean satellites or something, then I guess. But that was funny.
military. We need to do everything we can. The first thing is you go and you make sure you have the backs of Ukraine. That's why the Taiwanese want us to support Ukraine, because they know that sends the biggest message to China. The second thing is we go to China and we start being tough on them. No more sales of our American soil to China, and let's take back what they've already stolen. Then you go and to the universities. No more having millions of dollars go to our universities. Then we will go and end all formal trade relations with China until they stop.
Wait, did he say that? Nope.
And for all formal trade with China, and that you might crash the you're gonna crash your own economy, I guess, and start a trade war. It's crazy. When trash the world economy. I mean.
Oh, did she just say what I think she said?
End all formal trade relations with China until they stop murdering America.
Sorry, I'm going to skip back a little bit.
Ukraine, because they know that sends the biggest message to China. The second thing is we go to China and we start being tough on them. No more sales of our American soil to China, and let's take back what they've already stolen. Then you go and to the universities. No more having millions of dollars go to our universities. Then we will go and end all.
Wait, China is funding American universities? What does that even mean? Does she mean foreign students, no more Chinese students here? Is that what she's saying? I'm trying to understand.
All formal trade relations with China until they stop murdering Americans from fentanyl, something Ron has yet to say that he's going to do. And then we modernize our military. When we strengthen our military.
The fentanyl problem solves China's causing the fentanyl problem. I mean, it's all China, I guess. Okay. Sure.
America's military is already strong.
With the focus of cyber, artificial intelligence, and space, when we make sure that we have
American X-Wings, TIE fighters, on the way if Nikki Haley becomes president.
the backs of our friends, whether it's in Israel, whether it's in Ukraine, and we should be arming Taiwan.
We need new arms races to China. Raytheon.
Make sure they have the training they need now. There's nothing China fears more than knowing.
We should be arming Taiwan. Don't the Biden give an aid to Taiwan? I think. I mean, from what I heard, I can't really verify it, but I think they give an aid to Taiwan, Mr. Biden. I mean, even weapons. I can't really verify it, though, but what I've heard. On another I think it was RBN, but in their sources, I think they have certain sources say that. But
that America will have Taiwan's back. Let's make sure that we show it by making sure they have the equipment they need.
Governor DeSantis, my question is specifically about the Navy. It's at 291. It's going to go down perhaps as low as 280. Is it enough? And what would you build if you were going to build more?
Not enough. We have to have the ability to back up a strategy of denial of President Xi's ambitions. And if China's able to be the world's leading superpower, that will affect you and your family in ways that are going to be very bad. They will export authoritarianism.
They don't want that.
Around the world.
How you know they want that? I don't think so, man. Well, not like the U.S. is doing. I mean, really. They really think they're authoritarianism. We're not like Mr. Putin. Or like you guys would do. I don't know, man. I mean, sure, the thing is, you're in China's backyard. And you want to do more of escalation to their backyard. No, there's certain boundaries that you occupy, but I mean, what if China came in our backyard and did the things that you do there? I mean, like the U.S. does there. If they go into the Gulf of Mexico, I mean, Chinese ships or subs. What if that happened? I don't think the US would like that. I mean,
the cost of doing business. They will impose things like social credit scores and internet monitoring. So this is, to this generation, what the Soviet Union was to the post-World War II generation. I've already released a plan. We're going to get to 355 ships at the end of the first term, 385 ships at the end of the second term, but we're going to have a path to 600
this
ships.
is for the military industry, on the weapons industry. I mean, these guys, these are their donors. These are pro-war Republicans. In fact, both parties are pro-war. So I'm sorry to say, folks. So I don't know if anyway, if he's a Democrat or Republican, you're gonna have war. You're gonna have World War III eventually. I'm sorry to say. Right now, it looks like. See if Biden, these guys get in, it's gonna be worse. At least with the Democrats, maybe he could stop it. Maybe. And maybe if Biden doesn't win, if he doesn't, if somebody takes over from Biden, maybe someone's less pro-war, more sound mind, maybe he won't have. Someone's not anti-Chinese too. Both parties, both presidents, all candidates, it seems, except for, seems like they're anti-Chinese rhetoric. RFK is kind of, I think RFK is like that. And the people in the primaries, the Democrat primaries, I know Cenk is not like that. He's not serious. And Marianne Williamson, they're not serious candidates. So, and this other, the Democratic guy, I don't know about him. Corporate Democrat, he might be, but he might be anti-Chinese. You know, RFK's probably, definitely. Said something about something, or he said something racist about the Chinese. So he's definitely, he's anti-Chinese rhetoric. Cold War rhetoric on China. He's part of it. It seems like both parties are into this rhetoric, folks. Too bad.
Over the next 20 years.
Oh,
I think
shit.
The future of freedom is going to be determined.
More warmongering.
Pacific. We have a strategy not just military, but decoupling from the economy and fighting them here at home with their cultural. You know, Ambassador Haley said somehow I wasn't doing. She welcomed them into South Carolina, gave them land near a military base, wrote the Chinese ambassador a love letter saying what a great friend they were.
Yeah.
It was like their number one way to do economic development.
There.
In Florida, I banned China from buying land in this state, and we kicked out on our universities, and we kicked the Confucius Institute out of our universities. We've recognized
Confucianism, going from Confucianism to communism to
nonsense. Why? What about free speech? You gonna believe garbage? These guys are garbage. What about free speech? Free thought. See? He bans opposite, like different thinking. I thought the leftists do that. They complain about the leftists doing that. Banning thought. I mean, banning certain views. But you're doing it. You're actually doing it. I don't think the leftists do. I mean, it's the government, the guy doing it. I don't think it's a leftist. I don't think there's any leftists. The governor's doing what he did. Banning stuff. Like he's banning free speech. Oh, that's pretty good. I mean, free thought and free speech. They complain about the left doing that. And this is amazing.
CP, these people have no idea what they're talking about.
And we've acted swiftly and decisively.
Senator Scott, you've been in the Congress since 2011. Defense spending has fallen over that entire period of time. Where are we going to get the money, and what would you build, and what kind of ships to deter China from...
They're talking about
Two
ships.
major problems with the question. Number one, we do not have currently a defense.
You're right, it's crazy. about China and this warmongering.
Industrial bank to allow us to have the kind of production that we need in order to keep America safe. Frankly, if we are not prepared to fight and engage in 3 continents at the same time, think about where we are today. In the Middle East, we are in the midst of trying to back our strong.
Notice none of the moderators mentioned the U.S. military budget, Chinese military budget, dumbest warmongering ever. Again, great point. U.S. has the biggest military budget in the world. What are they talking about? They're definitely stronger than China. China might have more ships, but America overall has more stuff.
And what about for the American people? I mean, childcare, what else? Medicare for all. Tax cut for the little guy with the working class. Child tax credit. I mean, how about homelessness? How about homeowners, homelessness? The poor. How about the poor? How this is gonna help the people, American people? I guess going into China, you're gonna defend America. This defending China, defending Taiwan. How that's gonna help the American people? I mean, okay, defending democracies, but that's good. But how about helping the American people? What price? I mean, World War III.
More troops, more every.
At what price do you wanna defend Taiwan? Is it worth World War III to defend Taiwan? How about the American people? I mean, but this is all about the defense industry, funneling money to them, and giving them defense contractors making money. This is what this is all about. The pro-war, pro-agenda by both parties. And basically, the Republicans are worse. They're far worse, folks. And I'm sorry. And it looks like they're gonna win. So get ready. Get ready for more wars.
Everything. Better weaponry. What are they talking about? Like, they're literally using the excuse of China having better navy to, if that's even true, to try to justify more funding for the military by cutting social services.
In Eastern Europe, we've seen our resources and our weaponry help degrade the Russian military. In the Indo-Pacific, we have real challenges. The long-term threat is China. Immediate threat is our southern border. In order for us to have the military...
Southern border, once again, the southern border. It's a big theme. So what, they're going to be attacked by Mexico? That's the southern border, I guess. Or the terrorists coming in this... Oh, really? Oh, there's no terrorists coming to the southern border, folks. The terrorists will come from maybe a plane. Will come off a plane, not through the desert or whatever, or through the Gulf. I guess the Gulf of Mexico. It's crossing there, I guess, or through the Mexican border. Most likely, well, the hijackers came off a plane, didn't they? The 9/11, they didn't came to the border. And this is nonsense.
Fight 3 different continents at the exact same time. We're going to have to invest heavily in our military.
You already do.
We have to invest heavily in an industrial base so that we can hit our objectives from a military.
This is crazy, folks. How much money they spend every year on military? I mean, they never object to this. Everything else they can't spend. They're not getting money for it, except for the military, I guess.
Military perspective. Not only
Great, more pollution, everyone.
also with our planes. We are so old as a military that in order for us to recalibrate, we're going to have to invest. One of the things I do in my Made in America strategy is we create more than 4 million new jobs by having high-tech manufacturing come back to America, decoupling from China, so that we focus our attention on creating that industrial revolution that will be necessary for us to achieve the goal of having
more industrialization, more pollution, more war.
Lethal and
Great plan, Tim.
Mr. Ramaswamy, I'm looking for specifics. What would you build? Where would you build it? When would they be in the water? How big would the fleet get?
First answer is end the toxic divest to invest program. For people who don't know about that, we're decommissioning ships in the South China Sea. The foundation of war is economics. Rebuild our defense industrial base at home. But here's the dirty little secret.
Yeah, Brian, I know. We're talking about practice. That famous line, we're talking about ships, man. I can't believe it. They're talking about it like it's some fucking video game. We need the ships. We need more ships. China. These people ain't serious, man. Fuck me.
Depends on China for the supply chain, for the F-35 jets, for the ships that we're building. Think about this. Why are we stockpiling that if it isn't to actually be strong against our enemy, China? We depend on them for that, just like we depend on them for pharmaceuticals, just like we depend on them for semiconductors. So here's why we can't get tough with China. It's because we depend on them for our modern way of life, and we have to declare economic independence from our enemy. That's the Declaration of Independence that Thomas Jefferson, at the age of 33, would have signed. Today, if you were alive, that's the Declaration of Independence that I will sign as the next president. I do have...
He makes more sense than these guys, believe it or not. I mean, you can't just, Nikki Haley said she's gonna start a trade war with China and ban the products from them. And they depend on, all of us depend on the economy. We trade with them, so we depend on their economy, and vice versa. So you're gonna hurt your own economy, I guess, and then you might do something to the world economy. I don't know. Crash the world economy. So by doing this, so he has a point. Yeah, maybe he's right. No, yeah, you have to de-invest yourself from China economically.
I have to recognize that Ron DeSantis was correct about acknowledging Nikki Haley's tough talk when she was ambassador to the UN, calling her a great friend,
Nikki.
bringing the CCP to South Carolina. What he left out, though, Ron, and be honest about it, there was a lobbying-based exemption in that bill that allowed Chinese nationals to buy land within a 20-mile radius of a military base lobbied for by one of your donors. So I think we have to call a spade a spade. We need politicians who are independent of the forces.
I don't even know what's not the truth anymore.
China. My message to Xi Jinping is this. You will not buy land in this country. You will not donate to universities in this country. U.S. businesses won't expand into the Chinese market until you play by the same set of rules. You're kicked out of the WTO.
Someone's
and
calling
you
me.
have to have accountability for the COVID-19 pandemic financially, which unleashed hell on the world. We have to hold them accountable.
Do you have a number and a plan?
I think that we need to increase our naval capacity by at least 20% over the course of the next several years. I think we have to, at minimum, be able to meet our AUKUS agreement standards. Right now, we are at risk of not even being able to meet our AUKUS standards.
The fuck is AUKUS standards?
So what we need to do is have a plan that reverses the trajectory of the divest to invest program by 20% over the next 3 years.
Done. Stop talking.
You know, my first observation, Hugh, is that nobody answers your question. And my second observation is these three in the middle think they're the enemy. I know China is the enemy, and that's what we should focus on. So let's be really clear.
Yeah.
The nuclear submarines in this...
Nuclear submarines, great idea.
The Chinese
yeah, more nukes, baby.
It's the first place I would go to increase American naval power. Our nuclear submarines are able to move stealthily, quietly, and...
This is unhinged comment here, folks. This is really unhinged. He's gonna put nukes in there. So he's threatening nuclear war with China. Eventually, you know what I mean? I don't know.
And effectively, and if we are going to deter
Put
China,
Chris Christie in one of the submarines.
the only way we're going to do it is to make sure that they don't know.
Although we're giving the subs in Australia, so. But this is bad enough. This is not Australia. This is more in that region. The Chinese Sea, I guess. So near the international territory. Near the border, I guess. He's gonna put subs there. International borders. Okay.
Whether how many nuclear submarines from the United States of America are in the South China Sea, in that area,
He's gonna sneak them in.
if they decide to move on Taiwan. And so we, as our first priority, need to go directly to...
It's not bad enough they're in Australia. We like they let them go to Australia around there. But South China Sea, okay, let's do them right in the sea. You say not in this, so it's near their land, I mean their territory, not even outside the borders, international borders. I don't know what he's saying. Maybe, I guess.
And we need to increase it drastically. That would be priority number one. Ships would come next. But to me, the ships are secondary choice here. The submarines are the single most important thing that we could be deterring, that we could be using to deter China. But the other thing we could do to deter China is to let them know that the blood money they're spending for Russia in Ukraine right now.
Yeah, he is, Brian.
That we send Putin home with his tail between his legs and make them understand that the same fate waits for them if they decide to move towards Taiwan with a more aggressive nuclear sub-program.
Same fate. You really think so? I don't know, man. You want a war with China. I mean, Putin. I don't know which is more. I think China has a more greater military than Russia. Russia has more nuclear weapons, but I think China has a greater military. They have more men. And in terms of equipment, China probably has more than Russia. And economically, they're greater than Russia. So they could do all this. They have a greater military. I mean, and they're greater economy, so they could they're building up their forces like for years now. So have a war with China is not going to be easy. I mean, okay.
We'll be able to make that threat real.
Thank you, Governor. We're going to take a brief pause now, and we'll be back.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's enough. I think we're done here. I've done an hour and 25.
Yeah, it's over, folks. I agree. This is unhinged debate, folks. And these guys are just nothing for the American people. It's all about war. I mean, it's about the defense contract, defense industry, and giving them money, buying the weapon, giving the money, funnel money to the defense contractors, and in the pro-war and interventionist policies. I mean, wow. Anyways, folks, another bad debate by the GOP. Al out.